has, in the past 10 years, constructed over 9,000 kilometers of tarmac roads in Kenya. In some parts of the capital, Nairobi, it now takes about 10 minutes to cover a distance that used to take hours from the Mombasa airport all the way to the other part of the city. So, Your Excellency, with the expansion of the community, how critical do you feel? How critical is infrastructure, and how does the summit intend to address it?
Thank you very much, Beatrice. And first and foremost, before I begin, let me take this opportunity to thank President Samia Suluhu Hassan for her generous hospitality of her government and the people of Tanzania, and most especially the people of Arusha. I say that as with deep respect to my dear friend, the Secretary General of the EAC. I wish to correct him. I'm not correcting him in a bad way, but you see, when you say there that Arusha is the Geneva, that begins the mistake. We are not Geneva. Arusha is the heart of East Africa. And we don't want to compare ourselves with other people. Yeah? And if Arusha beats well, East Africa moves well. And then we don't want to compare ourselves with other people. That's where we begin the mistake of not doing our things correctly, because we are saying we want to be like, we want to be Africans, East Africans, and Arusha is ndio roho yetu, hapa ndipo. And so, for that to be, and I want to answer the question put to me by Beatrice, East Africa also cannot be if we are not able to communicate with each other, if we are not able to move from one side to another, if our goods are not able to be ferried from one part of our region to another. And this is why infrastructure is critical to us achieving our common objective of being a common market. This is why my administration in Kenya has been very keen to see the growth of infrastructure, and infrastructure across the board. Today, in Kenya, we are linked to Tanzania through Isebania, through Namanga, through Taveta, and very soon, President Suluhu will be joining her incoming counterpart in Kenya, because it won't mean siku zangu zimebaki chache tu. She will be joining her counterpart in Kenya to start that coastal route that will link Malindi, Lamu, Malindi, all the way down to Bagamoyo and Dar es Salaam. We are linked with Tanzania, with Uganda, through Malaba, Busia, and we have worked together now. We're also linked in we have another third a border where we are linked with Uganda. We are linked with South Sudan. We have done the road from Kitale all the way to the border of South Sudan. And we are working and have started the road now from Garissa to link us to our neighbors in Somalia, Ethiopia, And at the same time, we have also increased our capacity in terms of telecom and fiber to reduce the cost and to extend the outreach. And all of these are aimed at helping us come closer together. President Museveni has built his road all the way through to the border with DRC. And from there, our brother in DRC is working to link from the Ugandan border to Kisangani and through the river all the way to Kinshasa. Mama Samia is also working to push us, and the railway line linking Dar es Salaam all the way through to the border of Uganda and Burundi. This reduces costs, helps people move together. And we will always get challenges when we do this work. And why will we get challenges? Because there are some people who would not want us to have this infrastructure. They would prefer for us not to be linked. Because so long as we are not interlinked, we remain markets, not producers. So long as we remain markets, all we are doing is producing our raw material, it is shipped out, it is shipped back to us, because we are not and we don't have the capacity to create sufficient market. And as Mr. Mwangi was saying correctly, if we were all interlinked and we had this market, we would be able to use our own raw materials, produce for ourselves, be able to distribute to ourselves, and have access also to international markets. But because we are not interlinked, because we are not a common market, because we operate separately, which is what some people want us to be, we remain markets. So the raw material is taken from here, na sisi wajinga ndio tunakuja kununua hiyo tu. Wanaenda wanatengeneza, kazi kwao, pesa kwetu. Sisi ni pesa yetu wanatumia. Haibaki hapa, inatoka huko. And that is why we must continue to remain focused on infrastructure. Even when they tell us that, oh, you're spending too much money on it. Yes, you're going there because of this and this and that reason. They want us to be dependent. But we must be independent. And to be independent, we have our political independence. But to be economically independent, we must be linked through infrastructure in order for our common market to make sense. We're moving into a new world, again, as we have been told here. And it is not just about COVID. COVID has taught us big lessons on access to PPEs, to gloves, to masks and all that. And we have started to learn to start trying to produce ourselves. But we must now produce vaccines. We must go a stage further. But to be able to move into some of these productive areas, we must be together. It cannot be Kenya with a market of 50 million. It cannot be Uganda with a market of 45 to 50 million, or Tanzania or Naro. It must be that market of 500 million. And for us to realize that we are better complementing one another rather than competing with each other. And this market being common to all of us. Because this is what drives us. This is what drives us forward. When we look at the way the world is going with climate change and everything else, we're moving away from fossil fuels. We want to move to clean energy. We have our brothers and sisters in Congo. As we move towards electric cars and to all these things, the wealth of Congo is in those areas. If we were a common market, we would be able to work together. Congo producing batteries, instead of mining that material and it being loaded on aircraft to be taken elsewhere. This material should be utilized in Congo. Then Tanzania can be making cars. Then Uganda can be making something else. Then why should these cars be made outside our region, yet the raw material to make them is here with us? We should be able to supply ourselves and sell to the world, as opposed to it being extracted from ourselves and then sold back to us at a higher price. Meaning we are left in poverty and dependent, but it is our raw material that makes other nations wealthy. We must work towards a common market. To achieve a common market, we must have that infrastructure that links us. We must move away from those who will tell my colleagues, oh, you're spending too much money on that, you shouldn't be spending. Alafu wanatuandika kwa CNN, hawa watu wameenda China, sijui wameenda kukopa huko, wameenda kufanya. Ndio tunakopa kwa sababu nyinyi hamtupatii, lazima tukope ndio tujenge, ama itatoka wapi jameni? We have to. We have to. But they say that because they know the minute we are interlinked, the minute we are able to tap our resources, we will no longer be dependent. They would prefer us to remain in our status as producers of primary products. Wanatumia watoto wetu, badala ya watoto wetu kuwa shule, wanajenga huko madini, wanatoa, wanapeleka huko, tunaandikwa kwa CNN child labor. Lakini nataka niwaulize nyinyi, kuna pahali popote mumeona hiyo madini imetolewa, wanatustaki, lakini hiyo madini ambayo wamechukua wamerudisha kwa sababu imechimbwa na watoto, si wanabaki naye? Munadanganywa, munagawanywa, alafu munalaumiwa. We must develop ourselves. We must link up. We must put our children in school. We must utilize the resources that we have to create prosperity for our people and not for others. And there is no way that linkage, that common market can happen if we do not have a solid infrastructure that makes the people of East Africa one. Thank you very much.